Coffeezilla called it. To no one's surprise, he's been covering the Celsius bankruptcy and the subsequent fallout for over a year now. Just 4 months ago, he released a 28-minute expose on Celsius, including court documents and personal interviews. And last week, Alex Mashinsky, co-founder of Celsius, was arrested and charged with 7 criminal counts that are starting to sound all too familiar in the crypto space. I've done Logan Paul, I've done SBF, and now it's Mashinsky's turn. Let's break down his felony charges for crimes that in total could earn him a 115-year prison sentence. Ouch. Alex Mashinsky was charged with 7 criminal counts from the Southern District of New York. Not that many compared to some of the other alleged delinquents that I've covered on this channel. And yet, if given the full penalty, Mashinsky would spend the rest of his life in prison. Or maybe, I guess if he takes like really good care of himself, he'll walk out of jail at the spry age of 172 years old. Now, before I get into his charges, I want to just read to you a snippet from the press release of the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, because this is intense. Damian Williams, the United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York, and Christy M. Curtis, the Acting Assistant Director in charge of the New York Field Office of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, announced today the unsealing of an indictment charging Alexander Mashinsky, the founder and former chief executive officer of Celsius Network LLC, and their affiliated entities, collectively Celsius, with securities fraud, commodities fraud, and wire fraud for defrauding customers and misleading them about core aspects of the company he founded, including Celsius's success, its profitability, the nature of the investments Celsius made using customer funds. Mashinsky and Ronnie Cohen-Pavin, Celsius's former chief revenue officer, are further charged with conspiracy, securities fraud, market manipulation, and wire fraud for illicitly manipulating the price of Celsius's proprietary crypto token, all while secretly selling their own Cell tokens at artificially inflated prices. Friends, those are not my words. Those are the words from the press release of the U.S. Attorney. And that is a crazy press release. It's such a clear and direct simplification of a very complicated criminal enterprise. And yet, as a paragraph, it can be a lot to really process and to understand, which is really what I'm here for. So let's start off with the most basic charges: wire fraud. Now, at this point, my subscribers, my viewers, can probably quote what I'm about to say, but for my new viewers, wire fraud involves any scheme to defraud another person or party by means of electronic communication. How did Mr. Mashinsky violate this law? Well, he did it by lying to get investors and borrowers to give assets, aka cash, to get Celsius's earn and borrow programs. By lying to get investors to be paid rewards payments in Cell, which is Celsius's crypto token, and by lying to get investors to buy Cell in the first place, and by doing some or all of this using the interstate wires, what you call the internet. Weirdly enough, this specific crime isn't lying to their faces, but using electronic communication to lie to as many people as possible at one time. And that's why, at least in part, that wire fraud is always a felony, because it can damage so many more people than just going from person to person to person to person to spread your lies. Wire fraud is leveraged scamming. It's bad. It's a crime. Then there's the 2 securities fraud charges and 1 commodities fraud charge. These charges relate to 17 CFR section 240.10B5 and B17 and CFR section 180.1 respectively. The 2 regulations basically do the same thing, which is to prohibit the use of deceptive devices, untrue statements, and engaging in a practice which operated as a fraud in connection with the sale of securities and or commodities. I'm going to kick it back to Coffee to explain what exactly led to these charges.
Over and over, they lied to cover up the fact that they were the main buyers of Cell token and main sellers. They lied about their ICO, making $50 million. They lied about giving 80% of their revenues back to Celsius customers. They lied about Alex Mashinsky not selling Cell token. They lied about Celsius being profitable when they knew they were bleeding cash. And look, I could go on, but there are 71 mentions of the word false in this report, so we'd be here all day.
Okay, yeah. So we don't have all day either, buddy. So let's get back to the breakdowns. Mashinsky is also charged with market manipulation. Now, I've never covered that crime on this channel, so I'm excited for the opportunity to tell you that as the indictment states, Mashinsky engaged in a series of transactions in Cell in order to raise the price and persuade users to buy even more. He and his cohort used the money that they were trusted with to buy up Cell and make it look valuable. Think of the flywheel Coffeezilla pointed out in his video. Instead of customers buying Cell themselves, it was just Celsius buying a bunch of Cell using customer money. Now, once they drove the price up artificially and made Cell look more valuable than it actually was on the open market, Celsius executives would sell their tokens at those inflated prices and come out with millions of dollars in their pockets. $42 million to be exact in Mashinsky's case, according to the feds. There are a couple of things that separate this case from others that are similar to it in some ways. First of all, Celsius appears to have an actually independent board apart from the executives, and that board apparently agreed to repay, or maybe it's just going to attempt to repay, almost $5 billion. Now that's a lot of money, but before we get too excited, we gotta keep in mind that this is just a small fraction of the total amount of value that was taken in by Celsius while it was running. I mention this because I wanna be clear that this scam actually ruined lives. It ruined people's financial lives. I'm talking about things that we all know about, things like retirement accounts, college funds, money saved for weddings, for down payments on a house, big things, life-changing money. And so you look at this headline that Celsius has agreed to repay almost $5 billion, and you might be tempted to think, okay, everything is going to be okay after all. But it isn't. It actually isn't, not even close. I doubt if anyone, not a single person scammed by Mashinsky and Celsius is actually getting back all that they lost. Second, not only does the board appear to have been independent, but they appear to be cooperative with investigators. I take that to mean that the feds investigated and that they are satisfied that the board was not in on the scam. But the feds are still having the company pay over $4 billion to victims. And of course they're doing that, because whether the board was in on it or not, whether they are independent of Mashinsky or not independent, there was still a massive scam that cost many people billions of dollars. This whole situation goes to show you that you just cannot be too careful. Schemers, scam artists, they're always knocking at the gate. This year, we've got Elizabeth Holmes going to prison. We've got SBF getting indicted for almost a dozen offenses. When there are these new frontier investment opportunities, it's not a free pass for us to turn off our brain. Because while the investment vehicles or the tech or like the business strategy, while those things might be new, I mean, human nature is not new. We are always wanting to take advantage of each other. It's basically our best talent. It's axiomatic that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. That's never more true than in scams. You know this. There's nothing that a lawsuit or an indictment or a prison sentence is ever going to do to actually bring back what's been lost. I'm not trying to be a downer here, but the best legal advice that I can give you is run away when someone is offering you something that you don't quite understand, or that is, just too good to be true, like an 8% yield on your money. Mashinsky traded on a half-truth that banks are the bad guys. Well, it turns out maybe they were, but he was the worst guy. Now, my guess is that you're probably smarter than you think you are. you got to give yourself credit. Don't rush into something that your grandparents might have said, this doesn't really add up. Call it legal advice, call it friendly advice, but that's my biggest take on this Celsius scam. But I want to hear your biggest take, so drop your pro se opinion down below in the comments. Were you a part of the unfortunate Celsius scam, or were you suspicious from the start about the high yield rate and high reward token programs? Let me know what you think. And of course, we cannot end this video without yet another shout out to the great Coffeezilla, who has yet again been ahead of the curve in sniffing out a scam. At least publicly sniffing it out. Coffee has posted several videos breaking down the Celsius bankruptcy and later exposing the scam, so go check out his page. But if you've already seen his videos, then you can go ahead and check out mine. America's Attorney loves covering crypto crimes, so take your pick, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.